didn't see you there. How'd you like that footage of Granada? It's a beautiful city, right? Yeah, I had the pleasure of studying there in the fall of 2015 with the Granada Institute of International Studies, or GRIIS, and it's just a magical place. Of course, when you first get there, there's a little bit of culture shock, but you know what, don't take my word for it. Let's hear from some folks who I was over there with on the topic of culture shock and on living with a host family.
I would say most of the things that have kind of shocked me culturally have been good things.
I was expecting to get here and be miserable for the first 2 weeks and have no clue what was going on.
Interpersonally, I found interacting here wasn't too different, although it was in Spanish, which made it a lot harder, of course.
There's a little culture shock, but you definitely get used to it.
I guess I wanted to feel that kind of discomfort of being, in a new place and not really knowing where I am or how to get places at first.
It wasn't shocking, it's just different.
For me, it was the no air conditioning. It really hit me at the beginning.
In Spain, when people want to talk about something like politics or religion, they're a lot more calm about it, a lot more tranquilo.
As long as you try and speak their language and you aren't rude, I think Spain's very accepting of foreigners.
I feel I'm used to such a fast pace and everyone constantly needing to get somewhere and constantly needing to do things, and I feel it's so much more laid back here. Everyone's just kind of taking their time.
I knew they went out late, but I wasn't aware how late things were open.
The hours that you go out at night, Spain seems like a very, very sleep-deprived country.
If you go out at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night, it's it's the middle of the day. The entire town is out. If you go out at 2 in the afternoon, though, good luck.
I'm still not used to strangers grabbing me and kissing me on the face.
People stare at you in the street. I think that's really weird.
Wearing shoes in the houses and, I don't know, things like that.
The times we eat food it's insane.
They don't really eat breakfast here. It's a very light breakfast.
2 croissants and a yogurt is not enough for my breakfast, and that's a big breakfast.
They eat lunch pretty late, around 2 or 3.
Yeah, the culture shock hit me the most, probably around 1, 2 o'clock.
And they eat dinner probably around 8 or 9.
I'm finished eating in 10 minutes, but we sit at the table for over a half hour.
I have a host mom, a host dad, and 2 sisters, so that's fun just because the dynamic is very fun to watch between all 4 of them.
I would 100% advocate for living with a host family. I think it's been one of the best parts of this program.
It gives you the family experience while also kind of having your own independence, so you kind of feel you're kind of on your own, but you have someone who can help you if you need it.
They would try talking to me when God knows what I was even saying to them.
So my whole thing was, I honestly was I don't want a host family that I'm gonna have to get close with and have all this it was I'd rather have a more independent border. I live with you and I'm paying to live with you, but and obviously I'm gonna be cordial and stuff, but not going out to dinner and doing all these activities together and things like that. That's what I really wanted, and that's what I got. So
our host parents sit with us for each meal, and we have an hour and a half conversation. That has helped our Spanish so much.
Yeah, as much as sometimes I kind of dread it. I'm I kind of just want to watch TV and eat my lunch.
Yeah.
It I don't know when else we could have gotten that experience. We needed to do that.
She used to send us a lot of
she'd send us little pictures with
sayings in Spanish.
Have a great day.
Yeah.
Now, whether you live with your host family like an independent boarder, or you really become part of the family, you'll definitely learn a lot of Spanish either way. Now let's hear from everyone about their learning both inside and outside of the classroom in Granada.
I certainly learned a lot in the classroom about the history of Spain.
Well, I've learned more about Spanish history than I ever knew before.
I've learned a lot about Spanish history.
Arab history and the Arab culture in Granada.
Spain's history. So much about Spain's history.
The flow of language, you get such a better sense when you're actually speaking it every day and you're hearing people speak it.
With all the classes that we're taking and living with our host families, talking Spanish all the time, I have learned a lot more than I really thought I would.
I'll say things and they'll just be very wrong, but at the same time, I'm not afraid to speak with my host family. I'm not afraid to say things, and they're that was wrong. But they still understand me most of the time.
You're getting your point across.
So yeah, I get my point across.
Classes here are, on one hand, a lot stricter, but on the other hand, are not as strict. It's just very different.
They don't make you buy books, so that's really great.
Classes are so long. 2 hours, twice a week.
The teachers don't show up on time.
My biggest class is maybe 20 students. I learned a lot about Spanish and like speaking
yeah.
Spanish with
Yeah.
like regular people instead of like Americans in Spanish class. I feel like I've met a lot of people from other programs who just kind of were pushed right into like their classes, whereas we had that class we took in September, which was great because it also kind of like refreshed my memory of all like the stuff I had learned in the past, like
Because like
grammar
all summer
rules,
you
like
don't even
vocabulary.
like keep anything.
Yeah.
You kind of have the advantage of being in a small college setting here. Like Amalia is definitely in your corner, always checking up on you.
Amalia's got your back.
Yeah. And Teresa.
And Teresa.
I'd definitely say the care that our program directors have is very unique to GRIIS as opposed to like friends from other groups that I've heard of.
Awe for Amalia, especially Amalia's shoes.
And her fans.
We're her fans.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so nice.
that's cute.
That first month, I think, is very helpful in making sure that you have like friends within the group, that you know everyone.
I was afraid that like everybody was going to be like really into partying, and that I would kind of like not have friends because everybody was doing that. And I wasn't. But everybody here is very like open to everybody doing their own thing.
One of my classes is Political Systems of Spain and the European Union, and we were talking about like the transition and like the Franco regime, and like I knew everything that we were talking about like already from being in like class with Amalia, and it was actually like nice because then I could kind of like participate and answer questions and like show off a little bit.
Before I came here, I didn't know that Granada meant pomegranate, so that was cool to find out.
A lot of the more superficial stuff about being American is slowly kind of getting itself away from me.
It's definitely part of my life that'll stay with me forever.
I'm not the most patriotic person, and I found being here, like I became very patriotic.
I'm a lot more patriotic. I'm a lot more statriotic. It's Allison's word.
I feel like I stand out more as an American now, and I feel very proud to be an American. Phenomenal song also.
When I first came here, my biggest thing was like not being the ugly American. Like I was petrified of that.
I think I definitely feel more Spanish.
I don't know, I wouldn't say more Spanish, but I guess I am changing.
I don't feel completely Spanish as much as I would love to.
When I'm with Americans who have never really been to Spain, I feel kind of more Spanish, but then when I'm with Spanish people who don't really know anything about the United States, I feel very American.
It's nice to learn this new culture, but then bring the good parts of it back to the States and incorporate that into your daily life at home.
I think there's things I'm gonna bring back.
I'm definitely gonna adopt that 2 to 5 break time.
We were in Italy, and they were like, well, Italy has the best olive oil. And we were like, no, like Spain has the best olive oil. We were like very defensive of Spain.
I've definitely picked up Spain as like a part of my identity. Like it's definitely a major life experience living here that I think I'll definitely keep with me.
It's a really humbling experience, and I don't think I've necessarily become more American or more Spanish, but like I definitely have realized that I'm like American and the customs I grew up with are American customs, and it's cool to see other customs.
I definitely like have felt myself becoming like less and less attached to America and our way of doing things.
I went to Munich for Oktoberfest.
Paris, Italy,
Amsterdam, Budapest,
Barcelona, Rome, Venice,
Lithuania,
Copenhagen. We did a day trip to Sweden for the day. That's ridiculous. Ate a great steak in Sweden.
Prague, Berlin,
London, Morocco, Sevilla and Cordoba, and then I'm going to Italy.
I didn't want to travel to France and Germany and Italy and a lot of nearby countries while I was here.
You can travel and it is fun, but like there's definitely a different purpose, and it's to really learn a language and a culture.
I've really gotten to like explore Granada and like enjoy it as a city and not feel like I need to be traveling to a whole different country every weekend.
Always things to do, even when you just hang out and walk around on the streets, you just see funny things.
I think I'm a more open person now. I'm willing to share more, and I think being here I've had to step out of some of my comfort zones.
Self-reflection and like knowing what works best for you. You're not distracted by other people as much as you are at home.
I learned a lot from the Spanish people in terms of enjoying life being like really close to your family.
I loved Granada. I loved that it was a smaller city, so I really felt like I got to explore, I got to learn the city really well. And it just felt very comfortable to me, even being all the way across the ocean in a different country with a different family.
Now it's like I walk down the street and everything is normal. Like I see the mountains, and like they're beautiful, but I don't feel like
I'm like, oh, it's the Alhambra.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Per usual.
Yeah.
Still there.
Yeah. So it's still standing.
I feel like I've become less of like an uptight science major because Spain is just such a chill place, and that's kind of rubbed off on me.
A better version of myself, I would say.
It like forced me to be more diligent student.
I don't find myself studying as much. I'm never like trapped in the library for a couple hours.
Opportunities to learn things about yourself and another country and people in general that you don't really get a chance to learn otherwise.
I think I've learned that I'm like maybe more resilient than I thought I was.
Learning a new culture is so helpful and eye-opening to like what there is in the world. Like, I feel like overwhelmed because I want to know every other culture in the entire world.
I feel like more aware, a little more connected to humanity in an international sense.
It opens your eyes up to different opinions and the way that the world interacts, that I feel like we're kind of isolated when we're in the United States, and we think about it, but it's not like we really like putting ourselves in their shoes as much as possible. And I don't really think it is possible until you experience it.
You can't study abroad without becoming more open-minded and more accepting of other people's and understanding that the world is much bigger than the one you grew up in. You can't get that through just classroom or through books or movies. You really do have to experience it for yourself.
Do it. Just go places, study different things, study different cultures, especially if you can like live them and be a part of them on it, you know, in your daily life. Like absolutely, 100%. Like, yeah, would recommend.
100% do it. Like that's not even a question. It's such a good experience.
Do a semester if you can. I think if I was only here for a month, I wouldn't have enjoyed it nearly as much, and I wouldn't have gotten nearly as much out of it.
Definitely do it. Absolutely. And go for the whole semester.
Yeah. You have the time now. You may not have the money, but you have the time.
Even if you're like me and Spanish isn't your major, it's not something that's, really, your biggest investment or highest priority. You'll still learn a lot of Spanish, first of all. And secondly, the south of Spain is it's beautiful, the culture is amazing.
I like walking, and I like that you don't have to use public transportation to like get everywhere. Yeah, it's very easy to meet up with people, no one's that far away.
I think Spain is a really great place to study abroad, just because the people are so open and they're very warm, much warmer than Americans, which I love.
Don't come here and want to be on your phone and Skyping your family and your friends. Come here because you want to be here. Don't come here just to say that you did it.
You still have like good days and bad days, which I didn't realize, but
I think I would just like want to tell someone to like really like let themselves have those ups and downs and like not to feel bad.
You're gonna be freaking out on the plane on the way over, and that's totally okay. And you're gonna get here and you might forget all your Spanish for a couple days, and that's okay too, but you really get the swing of it.
You have to embarrass yourself sometimes, whether it's speaking or trying to understand what someone says. You just have to go with it, and as long as you're trying, you're going to get better.
It's been a great experience. It ended way too soon.
I have a very high desire to come back.
Like I love it here. Like I don't want to go back, so.
I don't know if forever, but I would like to come back and live here.
Thanks, Mom.
Like thanks.
Like shout out.
It was Monumental.
Well, I couldn't have said any of that better myself. I'm going to leave you with some more footage of Granada, but first, let's take a look at the artists who performed that flamenco piece you heard while you were looking at the footage. So, thanks for watching, and hasta luego.
Ay, niño, todo el dinero llévaselo a tu padre.